Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to show you how I used a glass bowl to make this scalloped edge plant pot. So normally I use plastic containers as my molds, but I wanted to show you that you can use glass or other rigid materials for your molds to create something really unique. So the first step will be making your Papercrete mixture or whatever cement mixture you're going to be using. I like to use Papercrete because it is really durable but also lightweight. The recipe is 3 parts paper pulp, 2 parts Portland cement, and 1 part perlite. I will link a video down below that goes into greater detail on how to make paper pulp, but essentially it is soaked newspaper that I mix with a paint mixer to create that pulp texture. And once it's all mixed up, you should have something that looks like this. And for the mold, I'm using this glass bowl that has a scalloped edge that I have obviously used in the past. That's why it's a little bit dirty, but it doesn't matter at all. It'll work perfectly fine. Now the upside about using glass is that it's gonna keep its shape really well. Also, you can find a variety of shapes and sizes for pretty cheap at a thrift store, or maybe even around your house you might have some that you can use to get started with. Now the downside is that because it is so rigid, it is hard to get the piece out of the mold unless you line it with plastic. And that is my preferred method when working with a glass mold. I actually use a trash bag to line the piece, and then I put my Papercrete inside of it, and that way when it's dry, it's really easy to pop out of the mold. So once you have your container lined, you can then fill it with your Papercrete. And the method I use, I call it the hamburger method or hamburger patty method, where I create a patty shape in my hands and I kind of compact a ball down, and then I press it into the bottom of the piece, and then I just do that all the way until the whole container is lined with my patties. So I do my best to keep a consistent thickness throughout the entire piece, and then I kind of stitch the patties together so that it creates one cohesive piece and there's no weak spots. And so I slightly overlap them, and then I use my hand in a fist and kind of press down to really get them combined well together so it's one cohesive piece and relatively the same thickness. I also wanted to mention that if you use a liner of plastic like I'm doing here, you will get folds and creases as a texture on the outside. It's not going to be completely smooth. So I would just keep that in mind. If you don't like that look, then this may not be the right method for you. You may want to stick to a plastic mold so that it is completely smooth. But I think it adds more interest to the piece and makes it even more unique. So for me, the most difficult part is getting the top rim to look the way I want it. So as you can see on the left side here, I'm working on getting a uniform kind of 1-inch rim all the way around, whereas on the right side that I haven't worked on yet, it kind of just gradually slopes to the top, and that creates weakness at the top because it's not as thick. So I want it to be around 1 inch thick and get a uniform thickness. And then especially with the scalloped edge, I'm really pressing the Papercrete mixture into those scallops so I get all of that detail. So when you're happy with the way it looks, you will go ahead and cover it with plastic. I'll usually leave it in the plastic for a couple of days just to let it dry out nice and slow, and then I'll take the top plastic off but leave it in the mold until the color turns a light gray, and then I know it's ready to be popped out of the mold. So as you can tell by the color, it is a nice light gray and it's ready to pop out of the mold. And with the plastic lining, it just popped right out very easily. And as you can see, I achieved all of the nice detail of the scalloped edges using this glass bowl. And that's really the whole point of using this one, was the beautiful edges. I think it came out really nice. And if you don't like the way that the plastic kind of folds and leaves those marks, you can lightly sand it, kind of mask that look a little bit, but I think it looks great the way it is. The only thing I did do is I used a sanding stone and I sanded the top rim just to flatten the rim out a little bit more and make it look a little bit more polished. You can also add some drain holes to the bottom using a drill. It's pretty easy to drill through the Papercrete. I added 3 drainage holes for this one. And then I added a plant, and I decided to put some beautiful aloes in this pot, and I think it turned out really great. I love the vibrant green with the nice soft gray color. But let me know what you guys think. Have you ever tried to use a glass mold? Do you have any recommendations on anything you'd like to see me try next? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.